From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
For the first time in more than 3 months, the Billings City plows are ready to roll as winter has a one-way ticket to Montana with an expected arrival in the next 24 hours. And that storm expected to cause nightmares for weekend travelers, from blowing snow to slick surfaces, hazardous road conditions all across the state. But right now, the chill before the storm, all quiet on the Stockman Bank weather camera before the snow catches up with a drop in temperatures. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, a heads up and snow shovels out because winter is moving this way. Mass weather and storm warnings all across our state. We're now going to turn to Krista Rose, who's standing by with the very up to the second details. Chris.
I tell you what, Jeanelle, this is the type of day where I read one forecast report, I wrote a story, and then I had to completely redo it because this has been changing quite a bit today. There is our watches, warnings, and advisory map. A lot of color out there. Basically in the Billings area, central Montana, central and northern Wyoming. Winter storm warning starting tonight going through Sunday, 8 to 12 inches of snow. And of course, more in the higher elevations. And then that wind chill advisory up in northeastern Montana tonight. And as we look at the wind chill map currently, you can already see up in northeastern Montana, temps or the wind chills are dropping, I should say. We could see 40 below zero wind chills in that region. Here's a quick look at the forecasted map. That snow comes down from Canada and pushes through and basically is hanging out all weekend long. And real quick, let me just show you the snow accumulation map here. Boy, we're in for it. We really are. So bundle up, stay warm, get ready, and we'll have the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Chris. Well, with all the snow headed this way, crews with the city of Billings are hustling to get their plows and equipment ready. Well, we spoke with the street and traffic superintendent, who says his team is ready for the snowfall. The sand and salt mixture used to keep the streets clear is all full, and drivers will head out tonight to start prepping the roads.
So what we've done is gone through all the trucks. We've put the sanders in the trucks, operated them, made sure everything was operating properly. All the lights were functioning. Went through all of our salted sand is stored at maximum capacity. Our slicer fully loaded on that, de-icer. All of our storage containers are maxed out on that. So got all the trucks ready. We're just waiting for the snow now.
And crews plan to hit the roads around 11 o'clock tonight. The plan is to prep surfaces before the heavy snow begins to fall. A nearly 33-hour armed standoff in Livingston ended around 10 o'clock last night. The Park County Sheriff's Office says 49-year-old Michael Marfuda surrendered to law enforcement, but it did not come easy. MTN's Gabby Crevitt reports.
Given that circumstance, I think it probably ended about as good as it possibly could have.
That's what Park County Sheriff Brad Bickler says after an over 30-hour-long standoff that resulted in no law enforcement injuries and the surrender of the suspect, Michael Marfuda. But that surrender didn't come without a fight.
So around 10 o'clock last night, we were trying to reposition some of our tactical teams around the house. As we were moving vehicles and stuff around, that's when our suspect opened one of the doors to the residence and just engaged us with a large volley of gunfire.
Sheriff Bickler says the suspect didn't just fire once at law enforcement, he fired twice. And that's when the Gallatin County Special Response Team fired back. The Park County Sheriff's Office says the suspect, Marfuda, was injured in the exchange and, according to Bickler, was shot somewhere on the upper limb.
Basically, it was, he engaged us, which forces my deputies to obviously engage him at that point, just because, for obvious reasons. And then once that engagement happened, he was wounded by the exchange of gunfire, and then ultimately we were able to get back in contact with him. His wounds were not life-threatening, and he came out and gave himself up.
The standoff all started Tuesday afternoon after deputies attempted to serve an eviction notice to the suspect. He reportedly threatened deputies with a knife and later began shooting at law enforcement. Marfuda is being charged with an outstanding warrant charging him with assault with a weapon and obstructing a peace officer. According to the sheriff's office, additional charges are pending, including attempted homicide and criminal endangerment. Reporting in Park County and Gallatin County, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Thanks, Gabby. Well, Republicans in the Montana House endorsed a bill today that would eliminate voter registration on Election Day. The House voted 61-39 to advance House Bill 176, which would end voter registration at noon on the Monday before Election Day. Now, since 2006, Montanans have been able to register and vote right up to the close of polls on Election Day. Conservatives in the House tried today and failed to move the registration deadline in the bill to the Friday before Election Day. They say they'll try that amendment again in the Senate. All 61 votes for the bill were Republicans, who say it's a party position to end Election Day registration. GOP State Representative Jedediah Hinkle of Belgrade says nonprofit groups are busing people to the polls on Election Day, leading to long lines for registration. But Democrat Tom France of Missoula says there's nothing wrong with that and that the bill is an attempt to suppress the vote.
Those nonprofit groups, and they were not on our side of the aisle. What they were doing was when they were, 30 feet from the building, they were working all of those people with literature, pizza, heat lamps, and everything else.
I know we had candidates, I might have been one myself, that on the Sunday before election and on the Monday before election were campaigning. And I would have hoped that I might have said something that inspired someone who wasn't eligible to vote to think I better darn well get down to the voting place and cast my vote, and I better register to do it.
Now, the bill faces a final vote this week in the House before advancing over to the state Senate. Well, a major legal setback for Montana's largest coal mine late Wednesday. Billings federal judge Susan Waters blocked the proposed expansion of the Spring Creek coal mine. That's located near Decker in southeastern Montana. Now, Judge Waters ruled that in granting the new permit, the U.S. Office of Surface Mining ignored the climate, environmental, and health consequences of additional coal mining. The 117 million ton expansion was approved by the Obama administration and would have extended operating life of the mine for another 6.5 years. Well, 2 years ago, the mine's former owner, Cloud Peak Energy, filed for bankruptcy. The mine was then purchased by Navajo Transitional Energy, but due to the pandemic, Navajo furloughed most of its workforce for a 4-month period. Excuse me. The Spring Creek mine currently employs 250 workers. Now, the judge's ruling means the Office of Surface Mining now has 240 days to conduct a new environmental assessment. So far, no comment on the ruling yet, either from the Navajo Energy or the U.S. Interior Department. The Alberta Bear Theatre gets another big boost, a $20,000 grant. Now, the grant was provided by the National Endowment for the Arts and will help to support artistic programming. With the grant money, the theater will host more artists along with the Philharmonic Chamber Choir starting on May 4th. And while the first show at the Alberta Bear is scheduled for May, that's for donors. Members of the public will need to wait until September for the first open to the public event. And that is going to be a very good one. Artist Kristen Chenoweth will perform. Well, a big birthday of note today. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Yellowstone County celebrates its 50th anniversary of serving kids here in Billings. The club, originally known as the Boys Club, was first located in the basement of the old Billings Library building, what is now the Western Heritage Center. Now, this picture from 1971. Now, from there, the Boys Club moved to the Yellowstone Paper Company building, where the club's membership quickly grew to more than 300. As you can see, activities included archery lessons and playing shuffleboard. A longtime Billings Mayor Willard Frazier was instrumental in helping get the club up and running and was honored with a special wall that bears his name. In 1983, girls were invited to join, which at the time was quite controversial. The club has grown from serving 70 members in the location in 1971 to 5 clubhouses and 5 microsite locations today. Club kids celebrated the occasion today with birthday cake, balloons, and games. Well, the club plans to celebrate its 50th anniversary all throughout the year. Well, tonight's episode of Jeopardy, right here on Q2, will have a special Montana feel. A Montana man, and he's an MSU graduate, Stuart Crane, is set to compete. MTN's Sean Wells caught up with Crane about his once-in-a-lifetime experience.
A product line manager from Kalispell, Montana, Stuart Crane.
Born and raised in Montana, Stuart Crane has lived in Kalispell since 2011 with his wife and 2 kids. Crane says he's always had a passion for trivia and first applied to be on Jeopardy back in 2017, catching his big break this past November.
You never know when you take the test if you were good enough or not. Some people will take the test, do well enough, but just don't get randomly selected among the many people who pass. So yeah, a little bit of luck and a lot of waiting.
Once he got the call, Crane says he had only 3 weeks to prepare for his scheduled taping in early December. Not much time to get used to the famous Jeopardy buzzer.
What is the ruble? That's it.
There isn't a lot of opportunity to get used to it, and it's heftier than I thought, which was nice. I used 2 hands, so plenty of force if I needed it.
Crane says a highlight of his Jeopardy experience was being able to meet competitors from across the country who shared his same passion for the show. Crane says his panel during taping may have also set a new Jeopardy record.
The panel that I was with, we joked that we may have been the shortest panel ever to appear on Jeopardy. They had to lift all of us about 18 inches off of the stage on little risers so they could see us over the podiums.
Crane says going into taping, he had a list of categories he was secretly hoping for, including baseball cards and downhill skiing. Unfortunately, those 2 didn't make the cut.
I had my bugaboo topics. I was hoping there was no poetry. Of course there was. I was hoping there was not a lot of religion or Bible questions. I think I did luck out there pretty well.
Crane says guest host Ken Jennings was both funny and personable on set, helping put contestants at ease. In Kalispell, Sean Wells, MTN News.
Thanks, Sean. Now you can watch Stuart's appearance on Jeopardy directly following our newscast right here on Q2. Well, up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, it's a color that looks good on everyone. Up next, we reveal the hue that's going to help motivate women and girls all across the region to get moving. And later in sports, we run the court with the Red Devils. Stay with us.